Hello, YouTube. It's Lil Derek.comics back with another video. And today I wanted to take a look at a trailer for this game called Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls. I just heard about it. My friend mentioned it. Apparently, it's a Marvel fighting game. So I have not seen this. I'm gonna just give my live reaction. So let's get right into it, and then I'll give like a breakdown after. Okay. Okay, so this is a PlayStation official game. Okay, so that's got to be kept. Okay, no, it's got to be Bucky and Cap. Okay. No, I'm excited for this, dog. Wait. Oh, no, that's Iron Man. That is an insane looking. Yo, the designs for this are insane. Okay, so I'm guessing that's one of the Marvels. Spider. Okay, let's go, Spidey. You have to have Spider-Man in a Marvel game. Yo, the stage transitions are sick. Star-Lord? Okay. No, this looks insane. Ghost Rider? Ghost Rider? What? Yo! They won. Oh my god! Wait! Oh, that's a nice grab. This looks fantastic. It's like MVC3, but it's not MVC3. That is insane. Okay, Storm in there. Okay. That's a nice Storm design. Okay, so 4v4. My friend told me about that. That's still insane, though. How is that going to work? Was that Thor I just saw? Okay, yeah, Star-Lord again. This is an interesting starting line. I'm assuming just the first 8 characters. $2026. I can wait. So I done kind of gotten a few watch throughs after that first initial reaction. So now I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna break down some stuff that I think is gonna be in the game, stuff to look forward to, and potential characters that might show up. So yeah, let me change the speed right quick, and then we're gonna go ahead and play this, right? So we're gonna just go through and look at some things. So first off, PlayStation. I think it's important to note that PlayStation has kind of been paving the way for like the competitive esports FGC scene. So the fighting games, Sony has kind of dipped their toe into it a lot. So I don't remember if it was Evo or the Capcom Pro Tour, but I know PlayStation was, if they aren't still over it to this day. PlayStation has been delving into the fighting game market. So it's not surprising that they're trying to capitalize on this new Marvel IP, especially since Rivals has been doing so well. Marvel vs. Capcom has been doing decent with like the re-releases, I think. So anyway, yeah. So it's cool that this is a PlayStation project because I know they were over like, I think Street Fighter 5 at one point in time was also a PlayStation exclusive. They've been trying to get into the fighting game market. So let's keep going. And Arc System Works, okay? So if you don't know Arc System Works, they really need no introduction, but think Dragon Ball Fighters. Okay, they have other projects outside of Dragon Ball Fighters, but in terms of like respective to this game, Dragon Ball Fighters is the closest thing you can think of that they've touched that is going to be similar to this game. So if you like Dragon Ball Fighters, you're probably going to love this one. I personally love fighters. I love Marvel. I love Marvel versus Capcom. And so this kind of seems like their take on a Marvel versus game, just without the Capcom. So it's interesting that they're going with Arc System. rather than Capcom, since Capcom has done most of the MVC games, and that's what this is inspired by. But all right, let's keep going. All right, and again with right here, this seems like the storyline's going to be centered around Civil War since it's Iron Man versus Cap. And I think there's going to be some other storyline elements and references, but let me slow down the speed again because it's going to get like. All right, so right here, this seems to be like the intro. They're gonna probably clash at the start. I don't think there's any. There's probably like trades and stuff and clashes like there are in like fighters where if you hit the same move, it'll kind of trade and it won't do anything. But right here, Iron Man's going for like a combo, and you can see him comboing into like specials. That's pretty standard for a fighting game. But you see Cap react and get this launcher after Iron Man kind of dashed at him. And it seems like the characters have air dashes. So you'll see him go from here, and then there's a. I think everybody's got a different air dash with different animations, but and this launcher specifically goes higher. And you saw how it had like that kind of dramatic angle to it. I think this is going to be like fighters where there's like this universal launcher and maybe if you counter off of it it might take you higher cuz he is jumping and I don't think this is a Captain America specific thing. Also, you can see Avengers Tower in the back. There's some you can see Jameson. There's some nice things to like look at. I don't know what this coffee shop is, but it'll pop up later. So let's keep going. But yeah, that's the only launcher that seemed to take them up that high. So it looked like a super jump. You might not have to actually input the super jump if you land that, but that's definitely higher than usual. Like you're not gonna get this high usually from those launchers. So let's keep going. So yeah, he does a standard combo. He gets a knockdown, and then he's got an OTG combo. So you knock him to the ground. I think he might have bounced a bit. Yeah, he bounced a little bit and then he keeps going. I don't know what these blue effects are. I'm gonna assume this is another heavy. So I think everybody's got like their own little heavy attacks, and we'll see more of that in this trailer. He knocks him to the ground. I'm assuming that's a special, and then here's where it gets interesting. So he tags in Miss Marvel, and you see this little like winding yellow effect that's different from tagging in. So usually in these versus games, you have like a tag and then you can like switch. There's usually a difference. Sometimes you'll like I know in this Hunter x Hunter game that's coming up, you can kind of like double tap the tag button and tag in. Sometimes you'll have to maybe hold it. Like in the case of fighters, I believe you hold it. Sometimes you can do a special attack and then you'll tap the support button, then you can tag in. But you see, once it has that little like gleam, like from right here, it'll kind of have the like green, and then this little yellow beam will come, and then now he's switching to Miss Marvel. So you can actively tag in a character and then also switch to them. So that's interesting because you can't do that in all of these versus games. Like you can't quite do that in fighters, if I'm not mistaken. Like it's a little different. And I think she landed a heavy at the end of that. So now we're gonna see some Miss Marvel gameplay. And I didn't point out too much of Cap's move set, but let's continue and see what all Miss Marvel can do. So that looked like a heavy attack. Okay, so right here. So right here, you can see Miss Marvel kind of has like this lean back mechanic. She like leans back, dodges these missiles, and even goes behind Iron Man. So this is probably like a either not probably not a parry, but even a counter of some sorts. It seems like people have things to. I think everybody's got their own little counter in this game because everybody's seen. You'll see throughout the trailer, people look like they have ways to get around certain things. So she kind of stretches, goes back, and this is one of hers like special moves. This little twirl. She seems like she's got a lot of range and just like big hitboxes. Now this part right here, this crossover system, this is the meat and potatoes of all this. So you see Iron Man is like blocking and then he calls out Spider-Man. And then this crossover happens. And I think there are two different crossovers as you'll see later in the video. But in this one, this is more of a defensive one. So he kind of, once it happens, he rolls back. And so you could just do this on block, the crossover. You can tag in on block, but he rolls backwards and Spider-Man comes out, and you'll see that's different from another crossover later. So I think when you do this, this is like an automatic thing, or maybe you can dodge backwards regardless and then call out your assist. But I think when you do it, your assist automatically attacks. And then you can see right here, he continues the combo as Iron Man, so he just tagged, he didn't switch. But after you do your attack as Iron Man, you can switch to Spider Man. So I know that might be getting a little confusing, but basically you can kind of switch whenever you want to. So the tag and the switch again are two different things. So he made sure to stay Iron Man after he called out Spidey, and then got his attack off as Iron Man, and then once he got that kind of ranged attack, he switched back to Spider Man. So there's some interesting plays that you can do with all this. So let's see, Spider Man, he goes for a little launcher. And you see that, like I said, that launcher is different from what Cap hit earlier. So I think there's going to be like a universal launcher, and then I think there's an upward launcher to where it's like a counter. I think if you counter it, it'll probably send them up in the sky, maybe. We'll have to see more of that. But yeah, he gets this kind of knockdown. And then this is his counter. He's got like this Spidey sense. But yeah, he's got like this Spidey sense. And he doesn't get hit at all. He just dodges and then he goes back. I don't know if that's all automatic after you land the Spidey sense, if that's like a parry type deal, or if you have to follow up with it. But either way, he's got like a counter to it. And then you can see this green pop up. So after he lands the counter, he's calling in Iron Man. Iron Man goes for the charge. And you see he didn't switch to Iron Man, he just called him out. So he can continue the combo as Spidey. And then he goes for this heavy attack, I'm assuming. It's kind of like a launcher, but forward. There's like a heavy launcher up in fighters, and then there's like a normal heavy that'll send you across the screen. So after that heavy attack, I'm assuming this is, or yeah. So he goes for that little heavy, I'm assuming, and then he cancels the heavy into one of his specials, which is like this dash, and then he'll kind of ladder up on the opponent and flash kick. And this leads into that stage transition. So I'm guessing just like in fighters, certain moves, especially if you're like near the end of the stage, it'll lead into a stage transition. So for the attacks that kind of launch people once you're towards the edge, I'm assuming that'll lead to the stage transition, which is pretty cool. And the interesting part about that is she's not dead after the stage transition. Like the character hasn't fainted. So I'm gonna assume it either does damage, like it has to give you some kind of advantage because it kind of just stalled the fight. You can see when they came back, they kind of just reset. So I feel like the stage transition has to give you some kind of advantage. I don't see why you would want to combo into a stage transition otherwise. So I'm gonna assume it does damage since she didn't die from it. No, I don't see why she didn't die from that. Like I really don't. But yeah, also right here. So he goes for this little his web swing, which is cool that he has that. That's a good ranged option. But before Miss Marvel ran up, you could see the green is going here. And so she calls in Captain America while she's running, and then she stops. This looks like she's doing an animation, but yeah, she stops running and then she goes into this block and Captain America is coming out. So this is a good defensive options. You can call your supports defensively. And I also want to note they have Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor in this background. So most likely Thor is going to pop up in this game as well, since they kind of already have a design and a model for the character. But also you can see this is different from the designs they wear. These are the classic suits. So there's a good chance that we'll see classic suits pop up in this game for all of the characters. So that's really cool too. So yeah, let's keep going. While she's still blocking, Captain America throws the shield and then she can stretch, grab him. So you can command grab off of your assist. There's no, oh, he's getting hit, so I can't grab him. You can always command grab in a combo, it seems. So she goes, continues the combo, and then she tags in Star-Lord. So already we can see you can tag plenty characters within the combo. And then she switches to Star-Lord. So not only can you tag in like different characters in the middle of the combo, but you can also just switch to either one of those characters, it seems like. And then after she switches, he starts like a super, and I'm gonna assume this is like a lower level super. Yeah, and I don't know if that's all a part of the super or if he just went into it, but yeah. So he starts his own little combo, and then he's got this freeze gun. That's gonna be a cool mechanic because I'm gonna assume this is just one of his special moves. So to be able to like freeze and stun somebody, that's really cool to have. That's cool that that's in the game. So there's probably gonna be some stuns. And then right here, this is not spider sense. All right, so this is part of the combo, not combo. This is part of the crossover that I was talking about earlier. So if you see, he does that, and then he tags in Ghost Rider. So this seems like a more offensive version of the crossover that happened earlier with Iron Man. So instead of him going backwards, like while blocking, so yeah, he blocks. I don't know if that's a parry. It might be a parry thing. You might get this off of a parry, but regardless, he got it, and then he hit him, and then he tagged in. So it seems like there are, offensive ways to tag in and defensive ways to tag in. So, and then this leads to another stage transition. So again, I'm thinking the stage transition somehow lead or come from the special moves. Or, maybe that starts round two actually. Because I know a lot of the time if you led from a stage transition in fighters, it would mean your character's dead. But since they're not dead, this might actually lead into round two. The stage transitions might actually mean the second round. So and it did look like he died. Like it looked like the battle's kind of over. That's kind of how it looks in Guilty Gear when you like finish someone off. They'll kind of just be stunned like that. And so I think that's the end of round one, actually. I think that's what the stage transitions are. So we see a few special moves from Ghost Rider. He's got like this flame effect. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if it does anything, but okay, so this is where it gets interesting. So let's start back here. So Star-Lord starts off the combo and everything, and then he gets the knockdown, and once he starts that knockdown, you can see he calls out Cap. So Cap comes in, continues the combo, and then once Cap comes in to continue the combo, he also calls in Doom. So you can already see you can call out 2 assists at a time. Then he switches to Doom after he calls it out. So it's getting chaotic. 2 tags and then a switch. And then after the switch, he goes into a command grab. So we can see Doom is probably going to be more of a grappler character. And then he goes for this little dash and gets behind him. So that's why, like I said, with the spider sense and Miss Marvel's little like back dodge thing, I think everybody's got their own little maneuvers to like get around certain projectiles and stuff. And then he goes into like this super. So I think everybody's got a lower level super, at least one. And then he's got like this mark. And I guess it can like detonate. He goes for another command grab. This time it's an aerial command grab. Also wanted to point out the background right quick. So right here we see Fogwell's gym. And we see this kind of scale balance with N and M. I'm assuming this is Nelson and Murdoch. I don't know what else scales and N and M would represent. I honestly don't even know why that's right there. Maybe that's a comic thing, but obviously Daredevil. This seems to be like a Daredevil stage, so you could probably look to see Daredevil in this game. Honestly, that might be Matt right there in the window. I don't know, but yeah, Fogwell's gym. This is where Daredevil trains. Nelson and Murdoch, attorneys at law. That's where Foggy and Matt work. So expect to see Daredevil. Then he puts the mark on him again, and he immediately goes and air dashes. And this is another defensive support option. He calls out Storm, and then Storm kind of gets like this DP kind of motion, kind of like a Shoryuken in Marvel vs. Capcom. And then he switches to Storm. So there's a lot of combos you can do just from your calling out your teammates. And then she immediately goes into another super. So, and I don't know if she can combo after that, but that was it looked like a hard knockdown. So she's got this drag down special attack, continues the combo, and then she goes into this like strong attack. I'm assuming when the specials finish the match, that'll probably be like a stage transition. And then we get to this 4v4 tag team battles, and that's where this really gets crazy. So we got, Spider-Man, Iron Man at the same time, then Storm. So you can really just call out assists like crazy so far. This one I think was an interesting one. Let me look at this right quick. So Star-Lord comes in and then calls out Cap while they're switching to Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel goes in, blocks. Ghost Rider, like there's so much going on. Then switches to Doom again. I think this one I took note of. Let me see, because there was something interesting that happened in this one. So yeah, Star-Lord starts this combo, right? Goes in for a special, and then there's this big kind of cinematic where all 4 teammates come down. And then him and Captain America finish the move. So I'm gonna assume whoever starts the super is gonna be one of the people that end it. So I think it's the person that starts the super, and then 2 people come in and continue the combo, and then the last character and the first character come to finish the combo. And then right here, these are really cinematic shots. I guess I'll go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Yeah, these are really cinematic shots. And I'm going to assume these are like either level 3 or maybe level 4. I'm assuming there might be 4 bars a meter, assuming there's 4 characters for each team. So I think these might either be cinematics you get from either having a full bar, like max meter, or from your teammates being dead. This might be like a solo comeback mechanic, because it only looks like one person's doing this. They might just be level 3 supers that you can combo into and only one person finishes it. So I think there's going to be, normal low level supers for each character. And then there's going to be this kind of maybe level 4 super where you get all the characters to tag in. Maybe it only works if you have all 4 characters. And then there's like this big super that all the characters have as maybe like a comeback mechanic. And then this last part, I'm gonna assume it's like the start of the battle. And coming 2026, PS5, Steam, and the Epic Store. So, PC and PlayStation 5, there's unfortunately for the Nintendo Switch 2 users and the Xbox users, it's not coming to those consoles, at least not off rip. This might be a console exclusive launch for PlayStation 5. Yeah, this looks amazing, and I really like how everything looks. So that's the end of this breakdown, but I'm really excited for this game. Let me know what your thoughts and comments are, and let me know how I did. But I'll see you in the next video. So peace.